What's going on, Workforce? Brian here, and today I want to talk to you guys about everything, but that would be like a 20-hour video, and so we're just going to break it down with a couple of pretty much two discussion topics. Really, the first one just kind of being more of a PSA, and maybe I'm not understanding it right, maybe I'm not seeing it right. But several people have talked to me about this in the community, have asked me questions about the markets. And so we're going to talk about what the market and what the world transfer or the world visiting system is going to have on the markets, and whether that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. So, if all you watched was that question, let me know what you think in the comments below. And the second piece is going to be Blue Mage and the issue of the Duty Finder matchmaking. It's actually a really interesting conversation, and I really want to know your thoughts about it. Now, whether you think that the Blue Mage should have had a one build or another. Let's save that for, I'm working on a video kind of really looking at highlighting the different ideas that people have proposed about the job and what it should be. I even proposed my own several years ago, back when, Stormblood was announced, talking about a druid type, job that Blue Mage could be. But now that we know more about the Blue Mage, I want to go look at the community ideas. That's another separate topic in another video. What this is actually going to be focusing in on is matchmaking, and how this actually works, and why Blue Mage cannot be added into the Duty Finder system. And there's a lot here. We're going to unpack that. We're going to do that, pretty quickly, because again, I wanted to talk about the PSA first, which is markets. When the world visit, system comes into place, you can go and buy anything from these markets, and then you can come and sell on your home market. The only place you can sell is your home market right now. This is not an exploit. This is literally what they want to happen. If you want to make some money, you go find some place that's selling something for cheaper, some world selling something cheaper than you have, and you bring it back to your world and you sell it and you make the difference. You're not going to be alone. A lot of people are going to be doing this, at least enterprising people who want to make a lot of money for little effort other than just going from one world to the next, searching the markets, buying, going back, and listing it, and then hoping it sells for the price. This is going to have a lot of fluctuation at first. So there is going to be a lot of movement and change in the market. Things that might not have been selling so well are going to go up in price because they might be being purchased here and then being sold elsewhere on a different market entirely. This is by design. This is the plan. We know the direction of the game, and it's to go in the direction of the mega server. They eventually will allow us to sell at some point in the future. It could be a year, it could be 2 years, but they want this to happen now, so the markets are going to start to normalize within themselves. We also, when housing launched, if you guys remember that, certain housing markets launched with guild prices that were just huge, because those worlds had just a ton of gil on them. And then this is the same thing, but what this is doing is this is giving us, the players, the ability to start to normalize the amount of gil that is existing on these different worlds. And over time, that's going to become within parity for the most part. That is a good thing, because eventually these markets are all going to be the same. If you guys aren't aware of that, that's where this is going. That's where Yoshi P has talked about the mega servers. Essentially, basically, the world visit system will evolve into that. Now, will it evolve to that in a full way, like that some people are thinking with the sharding system? We don't know. The world visit system seems like a very interesting thing, but they could start to normalize a lot of these things, like free companies, the cross-world link shell, the markets. All of this has to happen. Otherwise, it's really going to be very painful when the day comes and all of a sudden they say, well, the markets are all here. And all of a sudden there's this huge influx and a huge amount of guild discrepancy from server to server. So we'll have to see and how this goes. It's really quite fascinating. I'm really excited about watching it. Okay, that's the PSA. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. If you're worried about it, I would say go make some money. Just go. Anybody can do it. It's not wrong. Do it. Make your money. All right, so Blue Mage, Duty Finder, sucks. At its core, one of the core complaints that especially a lot of old timers like myself have always kind of said is like, we really don't have a lot of player choice. Matchmaking and player choice are at odds. Now, there's different ways they can go about it, and I get it. I get that, the argument people are saying there's ways. The thought that I had with blue specifically is you could give blue mages a skill score. You could say, well, if they have all of these different skills, equipped, they have a certain rating with it, so we know that they have certain skills, at least certain, different skills could be rated differently. So we couldn't judge the meta, because I guarantee you right now, the meta is going to be changing for like crazy on blue. That's actually one of the most exciting things. Duty Finder doesn't work because there's no guarantee that I'm going to have any idea of what the meta is on your end. And and you could end up being hurt by me if I'm just going to go and, random. The reason you can't have random and player choice is, just looking at blue. Now, the meta is going to serve to pare a lot of this down, but 3, 9, 2, 1, 5, 6, 2, 9, 3, 6, 2, 1, 6, 3, 8, 8, 8, 3, 1, 4, 0, 6, 3, 4, 4, 1, 6, 0, 9, 3, 5, 9, 3, 6, 0, 0, 0, 0. That's how many possible builds that are possible at all your spells and 24 equipable. 49 of 24 permutation calculation says, I don't know what word that is. What is that? That is an absurd amount. That's how many potential builds, assuming you can't equip the same skill twice, which you can't. Like, there's no reason to take Bad Breath twice. You can just bind it. Bind it twice if you wanted it. So, since you can't take the same skill twice, that is the number. That's how many builds are for blue. So the meta is going to form it, it's going to mold it. So that's going to go down. But I think, and I would predict that the meta is going to always be changing. People are going to discover better ways to blue. So all that being said, player choice and matchmaking, when you have all of these values, like no human or algorithm can really get to it. You might disagree, and if you do, please sound off below. What this does to me is it says, oh my gosh, they're freeing us. One of the core complaints that a lot of people in the community that have talked to me, not everybody, this isn't an everybody thing. I don't want to sit here and say that we're by any stretch of the imagination the majority. That's an illusion. I don't believe it, because you can't take away matchmaking. There is such a good value in it. I use it. Everybody uses it. But to want that level of freedom to build out something, to experiment. Heck, in 11, Ninja became a tank. To have that, and if you want that, you have to give up something. And if those things, that's what I'm saying, they're at odds, and that's why I think it's really critical to understand why they're doing what they're doing. They're not taking you out of, the content, some of it. And that's why it's going to be neat to see, because if you can't take advantage of, the roulettes, that's where that calculation, where they had to work so hard on that calculation, saying, well, if they're doing these daily roulettes, how long should it take them to get to level 50, on XP in the open world and dungeons? How long is that going to take them? Because they can't take a part of these daily, bonuses. That's kind of where that calculation comes in. But I digress. If we want things like Beastmaster, if we want things that make a job, not a carbon, like every white mage isn't the same white mage. And right now they're not doing it with any of those. There's something we have to give up. And so it looks like with these limited jobs, it's a categorization that's basically saying you want choice, you want player agency, you want to have and the ability to pick wrong or suboptimal, or you want to experiment. Well, as long as everybody that's around you is in agreement. And I think we're going to see that. I think we're going to see, and I'm wondering if we're going to see a culture shift. And what I mean by this, and I was talking to several people about this at FanFest, is that like in China, they found a bug because nobody uses Duty Finder. Everybody uses Party Finder. Japan, Duty Finder is such a more key part into the game. In like Europe and North America, more of it's into the Duty Finder, and we expect people who come into the Duty Finder to meet our requirements. And that's where toxic things, that's when you see things that post like, oh my gosh, I had such a bad experience, is because people go into a roulette expecting that everybody is going into that same roulette, that they're randomly, like if you go, we're in Vegas, like you're rolling the dice. Party Finder is a different thing. Duty Finder can't go away. It's important. It means a lot. It helps a lot of people get into the game to make friends and relationships easier. It's not always the case. Party Finder is the same kind of thing. You're going to see probably people having various limitations. And I guarantee you're going to see screenshots of people saying like, Blue must have this, you know, like, etc. They're going to put out their requirements, what they mean. Those are people who serve the meta. And what we hopefully can establish, and it has to come from each of us individually, we have to make this as a decision, is that we have to say that we don't serve the meta. The meta serves us. The meta helps us to make better choices, but we're not afraid to make those choices. When you have that number, that's like, it's going to take some time till we figure it out. And for me, I'm really excited to go on that journey. I know a lot of people are frustrated, and my heart goes out to them. But I want to kind of I want your thoughts on Duty Finder and player choice. That's really what I hope this discussion's around. I think it's really interesting because I, for one, have become, less, inclined with the Duty Finder because I think we sacrifice a lot for it. It's important to the health of the game, the life of the game. I'm not discounting it by any stretch of the imaginations. I'm just saying that for the longest time, we didn't know what it cost us. Now we actually legitimately do. We know that it costs us choice. We know that Blue Mage was not possible, but they made it possible. It means they're listening, and they might not be listening to your specific ideas or like a group of people's specific ideas. They didn't listen to my specific ideas of how I thought the Blue Mage could work in the 14 formula. But I'm personally very happy for that. And it's a very sensitive topic. I honestly, I'm really excited to go hands-on. I'm wondering if I will come across to the other side of the argument once I get hands-on, or if I will be more solidified in my own, because I have longed for this. I have longed for some meaningful form of builds. The build, like there, people, like you pick your, like, are you, critical hit, your determination. Like there's very little player agency in the game. 4.5 is seeking to change that. And yes, we're not going to be participating in the end game content today. We're going to see how that goes and where that takes us. Regardless of all that, like I said, I'm working on a video, a deeper dive into all the different ideas that people have proposed, because they're really interesting ideas. And I love where the community is coming together to think about it. But note that this is a decision, and this is going to be interesting to see if it's successful. And I hope it is, because some of the other jobs they mentioned are awesome, and I'd love to play them. But it goes beyond that. It almost at some point you might really see more and more of these limited jobs. Sure, there are going to be jobs that are kind of just like, jump in, do your stuff. They are pretty simple. But if Blue Mage is successful, if they bring in more of these limited jobs and people really dive into them, we could see a culture shift in the community. We could see a shift here in North America, and I would bet in Europe as well, where everything kind of, just like with China and the Japanese markets, things shift more to Party Finder. We'll have to wait and see. Regardless, I'm excited. I really want to know your thoughts. Sound off in the comments below. Thanks for watching this video. It was awesome to see all you guys out at FanFest. I cannot wait to be able to put the rest of my thoughts down and make some hopefully interesting content for you guys to watch. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns. Love to hear from you. But for Work to Game, my name is Brian. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Oh, excuse me. What's up, Workforce? Chuck here, telling you should totally like, favorite, subscribe, share, dance, raise your hands in the air. I'm off camera. I'm off frame. I'm new at this. Hey, listen. Yes. You haven't hit that subscribe button. You totally should. I recommend it. Chuck approved. Anyway, also, thanks to all the Patreons. You're in the corners. Whoa!